From the first days of the pandemic, DPTV has committed itself to serving the community in every way it could to help us navigate this terrible crisis. I cannot think of a more valuable partner in this cause than the COVID313 Coalition, which for 14 weeks has organized these virtual town halls, bringing crucial, often life-saving facts and guidance to Detroit residents. COVID313 is an amazing group. I have participated in many committees and other worthwhile projects throughout my career, but I have never encountered a group composed of such committed, compassionate, caring, and hardworking individuals. There are no debates or arguments among them, only productive discussions as we seek to find solutions to today's challenging issues. When we first met, I remember thinking, do these people have any idea what they're getting into? How much work it will take to conduct 2-hour public forums every week? Well, of course they did. Their energy, their industry, their wisdom seem to have no bounds. The results have been amazing. Our town halls have been viewed more than 60,000 times. We've reached something like 135,000 people. And that doesn't include the people joining us by phone every week. More importantly, the 30 plus organizations that COVID313 represent deserves at least some of the credit for turning Detroit and Michigan from a COVID hotspot to a model of community coming together to flatten the curve and stop the spread of the disease. But as Dr. Fuller just told us, this is no time to stop being vigilant. As we move forward, I can see this being even more of a community forum for addressing crucial issues like anti-Blackness, anti-immigrant, and other forms of racism. I think we will continue to be a powerful voice for the community, and I know Detroit Public Television and I will be grateful to be able to provide a platform so that every voice can be heard.
As many of us 14 weeks ago, I did not know what I was getting myself into. I was very afraid, nervous, anxious. I'm a mother. I have a 2-year-old son, so if we're being honest, there were nights where I was just having full-blown anxiety attacks because I didn't know what was to come. However, working alongside all of you, I was able to calm my fears because we are full, with people who know so much information. They're so resourceful, and to be honest, I didn't feel alone anymore. As time went on, I felt a sense of empowerment. I felt knowledgeable because I was able to communicate the information that I was getting from all of you to people in my community. I am Mexican, I speak Spanish, so I was in charge of doing a lot of translation for our chats, for our flyers. And even though some people were tuning in, they weren't watching, I was still able to go ahead and, tell people, spread information that I was learning here with all of you guys. I don't have a child in school, but I know plenty of people who do. So I was passing along information that I was learning from all of you guys. As many have said, we do find ourselves right now living through a time of division, whether it be politically, racially, and to be honest, we're never going to get anywhere if we continue down that path. We need to come together, work together to be able to provide a better future for ourselves, for our future generations, for my son, for all of our kids. So I'm really grateful. I considered myself blessed to be a part of this coalition. And I am so fortunate to have been able to learn so much from all of you.
I remember in February sitting at the table with the superintendent watching the headlines, and we saw COVID-19, it was coming. And quickly thereafter, we were looking at mid-March and it had came. And Dr. Vitti called for all schools to be closed. And we all just kind of looked at him like he was not okay. You're sure this is what we're doing? And the governor hadn't quite made that announcement, but he had already arrived to that point. So I have the privilege of working for a visionary, for a superintendent who understands education, understands reform, but he is very passionate about the work and the students and the families. We called our families. We knew that some of our families weren't interested in reading and writing in school because they were dealing with loved ones who were dying of COVID. It was snuffing the lives out of their loved ones at a level that I couldn't even keep up with. Our job was to keep up with this tally on the website, and it became emotional because we knew we were serving students and families that in a way that It was outside of school. It was outside of the classroom. It became personal. We wanted to make sure that our family was okay mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically. Are you okay? Do you have what you need? So it's been a profound experience. In addition, as the largest school district, public school district in Detroit, we not only were serving our families and students, we became a source for the whole community. I remember someone reaching out from the state level in a juvenile detention home and saying, can we please use and tap into your resources for our kids? Because we don't have any curriculum. We wouldn't know where to begin to create this for our students. And our superintendent said, yes, use it. So, I mean, that really brought something out of me. I'm a DPS CD grad, class of 93. I went to Osborne High. And I've always wanted to give back to my community. I've always wanted to be in a position where we worked on behalf of folks who look like me, who needed an education like me. And I'm not in the classroom, I'm in communications. But my work became so important because people were depending on those messages every day, every weekend. And I'm changed because I know that I'm, number one, headed in the right direction, but the purpose is still yet to be realized as we reform education in Detroit, as we redefine what we're supposed to be doing for our families and our children. We all play a role. We all play a role. And the last thing I'll wrap this up with, we have a common denominator. You know anything about education, you solve a problem, you have to find a common denominator. Our common denominator is the love for our families, our students, our teachers, and our community. And this coalition showed us by coming together in love and for the interests of our common denominator, we can really make some things happen that wasn't supposed to.
I would just like to say that this was an amazing undertaking, and that we have been unafraid, so unafraid and committed to tackling serious issues like the one we did today on anti-Blackness and racism. But then on the other side of the spectrum, we've also been sort of, easygoing enough to have folks on doing yoga. So it's just been a beautiful thing to witness, from the COVID updates from Dr. Fuller, thank you, Dr. Fuller, to hearing from our youth, to learning about the importance of practicing mindfulness and the impacts of practicing mindfulness with our children. I personally have learned a lot from our content alone. And in terms of just the processes within our group, I just wanted to acknowledge super quickly that Nkenge Browner and I both shared in Mothering Justice's role on this committee and in this group. And together we have learned the benefits of planning and consistency, all done digitally, the importance of diverse voices with a common cause, around common core issues, and constantly asking the question, how can this be made more accessible? Has certainly stood out for me. I know it definitely has spilled over into our work at Mothering Justice whenever we are, hosting anything on our platform. We're always asking this question, even more so now because of our experience in this group. Seeing this group succeed consistently from week to week has encouraged, again, us at Mothering Justice as we embarked upon our first digital version of our Mama's March in May. We adopted some of the ways that have made this group successful. And I'll just close with saying that I'm optimistic that if this group of diverse folks and backgrounds can tackle the issues that we have, I'm hopeful that we can do this as a greater society in the near future, hopefully.
So for me, one, I've learned a very new skill, which is helping to produce online programming, which is not easy. And I know why DPTV exists. But two, I think the most beautiful thing that I've taken away from this is the importance of relationships in times of uncertainty, and the importance of coming together collectively in times of uncertainty. So this coalition came together in less than 24 hours. And folks very quickly put aside being the front runners, the star of the programs, and recognize that it will take all of us to be able to get the most important information out to parents and students, and to work together through that. And so that's why you don't see any shining stars here. It's really a collective group of folks who have put aside individual organizations' interests to make sure that we're working together for the greater good, which I think is the most beautiful piece of organizing in community. And I think speaks to the leaders who've built this and will sustain it. I also think, there's this anti-racist writer who writes about beloved community as really the pinnacle of multiracial collaboration. And I think that this group, a beloved community is a multiracial, multi-ethnic group who constantly strives for greater goodness together. And that it isn't an easy thing, but this is probably the closest thing that I've been a part of that is close to the beloved community. So very proud to be here.
Thank you, Molly. My reflection will be this. We broke the internet the first week. Yeah. And we have invented something. Marty, correct me if I'm wrong. No other city in the country that we know of has put together a group like this and produced programming for 14 consecutive weeks. Am I right, Marty?
That is correct. This is something to be proud of. It shows the vitality and the collaborative spirit of Detroit and the people who live here. So everybody in our audience should give themselves a pat on the back.
That's right. We invented something. Make sure and have no doubt you will see it duplicated other places.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.